Reading has always fascinated me. The passion that some people have for it is contradicted and matched by the indifference and loathing of those who can't bear it. And it intrigued me because I have always looked at reading as this wonderful intoxicant which, once tasted, we want more of. So I understood a dislike of reading as a mere lack of experience. For me, those who did not like reading had simply not found the right book which would transform their perception of the world and themselves. But did it then mean that one could perhaps be searching for the right book their entire life and still not find it? Were some people just lucky to have found the right book which thrust them onto this mysterious joyride of reading while they were still young? The rise in the popularity of self-help books has lately shed some light on these questions for me. Because over the years I've observed many of those who I had known to not enjoy reading gravitate towards self-help books. Reading doesn't just use the brain to make sense of what the eyes are seeing, but when we read, the brain forms an idea and it builds on that idea by itself. One of the most popular and trending self-help books is Atomic Habits, and one of the most intriguing ideas in the book is that of making things easy. James Clear suggests that if we want to break out of a bad habit and pick up a good habit, such as cutting down on junk food and eating healthy food, we should make healthy snacks more accessible than the unhealthy ones. So he asks us to look into our fridge, our pantry, our storeroom, and see what is easily accessible there. What is the first thing our hand reaches out to? Is that a healthy snack or an unhealthy snack? He asks us to carry out an experiment and shift or move all the unhealthy snacks into inaccessible places. Perhaps shift them from a shelf that is on our eye level to a bottom shelf or the topmost shelf where we won't reach for every day, and it's going to probably require us a stool to get to. And replace the unhealthy snacks with healthy alternatives so that when we are hungry and in a rush, we reach out for the first thing in front of us, and that's a healthy alternative. It's an interesting idea that by simply rearranging my pantry, I could be eating more healthy. And if I could do this with my pantry, perhaps I could also do this with other things. If I apply the same logic, then I could keep a small stool or a small table by the door and put my car keys on it when I enter the house. And when I'm leaving, I can pick up the car keys from that small table, and I won't have to hunt all over the house for my car keys. Now, as I narrated all of this, we could all see ourselves doing it. Keeping all the junk food in places not easily accessible doesn't sound too difficult, and it's an intriguing proposition. It sounds so simple, and even though we haven't tried it yet, it feels as though it would be effective. We don't actually know if it will indeed be effective in breaking our bad habit permanently, but we can see ourselves making a change which would hardly take 15 minutes. Not only that, we applied the same logic to other aspects of our lives. I thought about my car keys, you may have thought about something else. It gave us a glimpse of things being different, better. It gave us hope that things could change, that we could change. It put us in the center and showed us a better version of ourselves. And who wouldn't like to see that? Self-help books help us understand ourselves better. They articulate our confusion and, more importantly, show us a better version of ourselves, leaving us feeling good about ourselves. Quiet by Susan Cain isn't exactly a self help book, but it does leave both introverts and extroverts feeling good about themselves. The introverts feel recognized, seen, understood, validated. The extroverts feel good about themselves too because they now feel more improved for having this new information and knowledge about people, about interaction, about themselves. And they too feel somewhat validated because Kane admits that the social structure is such that it favors extroverts, it prefers extroverts. However, not all nonfiction can leave us feeling good about ourselves. Case in point would be The Diary of Anne Frank. And fiction definitely does not guarantee that. It cannot guarantee that. The reason why we can put aside our phone for a self help book, but we can't do the same for hardcore fiction such as Dickens or Austen or Noscard, is because in hardcore fiction we have to work harder to get a glimpse of ourselves if we are reflected in it at all. And even then, we're not entirely sure we're going to like what we see. As a society, we are losing patience. And we are desperately in need of feeling good because we are burnt out or lonely, or it's just the demands of the world that we are living in. We don't want to work hard to feel good when easier alternatives are available. We are dimly aware of an off key, of something being not quite right, which is why a self-help book appeals to us, which is why we seek a self-help book. But once we can see the possibility of bettering ourselves, once a better self is in close proximity to reality, our restlessness is appeased, and we mistake this appeasement for a permanent solution. I believe that there's no such thing as not liking reading. It's just a matter of not having found the right book. The right book at the right time will change your life. But I've now understood that what precedes the right book in bridging the gap between the non-reader and the reader is curiosity. Every person in the world who loves to read once upon a time did not. They all began somewhere. They all found the right book. And curiosity drove them to it. Sometimes the right book is the very one which piques our curiosity. Curiosity transforms the non-reader into a reader. And self-help books do this best by providing an insight into us. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Dash, The 5 a.m. Club, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, Atomic Habits, these are some of the best-selling self-help books. And all these titles speak to something deep within us. The subtle art of not giving a dash raises two questions. How? I'd like to learn that. Or why? What would come of it? Self-help books aren't about the books, they're about us. They're not trying to sell themselves to us. They're trying to sell to us the hope of and the image of a better us. And there's nothing wrong with it. What all of these books have in common is that their titles contain a subtle and invisible reference to us, whoever is holding it, looking at it. We are not engaging with the book, we're not interacting with the book, with these books, these self-help books, as a reader or an audience, but rather we're a participant. Another genre which does this successfully is romance fiction. It sells us a picture of love, and who doesn't want love? We're drawn towards love so deeply and strongly that here even though we're not a participant and our engagement and interaction with the book is limited to that of a reader or an audience's, we are content. And here we don't care about not being a participant in being a reader or an audience, because the idea that this transpired with somebody else gives us hope and gives us an idea of what it's going to be like for us, or what it could be for us too. And that again incites curiosity in us to want to know the story. But this curiosity does not extend to adventure books, because love has a universal appeal that adventure as a theme does not. It is owing to the wide capacity for inciting human curiosity and hope that self-help books and romance fiction have a mass appeal. We're a lot more curious about something that could improve us, or something that could make us better, something that could make our lives better, than we are about a random story. And that is why this curiosity first appears for oneself. It materializes in a desire to understand oneself. And this is when we, who did not read books at all, pick up a self-help book. When and if this curiosity expands, then we move to fiction, and following that, other genres of non-fiction, such as history, which explain the world, because that is more demanding in terms of the ideas that they contain, which can be challenging to beliefs that we have long held and ingrained, and also they require more discipline to get through them. The best works of fiction all share this quality of reflecting reality while pulling us away from it. They take us to a different place, and when we return, it is with a deeper, richer understanding of the world we live in. While all the best pieces of fiction fulfill the promise of being an escape from reality, all the best self-help books show us a vision of and a blueprint for bettering ourselves. I have now understood that there are two kinds of readers. There are those who like to read, and they read across genres and mediums, with minor, slim, narrow exclusions in preference here and there. And then there are those who like to read a specific genre, and they are loyal to the genre. They really truly enjoy reading their genre, but their interest in reading does not really extend beyond it. I would like to conclude with a slightly divergent notion, just to incite your curiosity. Self-help books are a modern and more palatable rendition of philosophy. Anybody who's read As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, or for instance Confucius, knows and understands that many of our contemporary beliefs, such as the relationship between the mind and our physical reality, and the power of the mind to influence physical reality, can be traced back to hardcore philosophy and ideas by thinkers who lived long ago. It's not new to us. Thank you so much for watching. Do subscribe if this was interesting and helpful, and I'll see you next time.